Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about how I saved $20,000 in a year and my hot tips to help you save. Before we jump into it, I just want to clarify that I am debt free, so I do not have any loans. I don't have a house loan or a car loan that I need to pay off. So if you do have those loans, then it might be a little bit different for you, but this is just about my saving and my budget. So starting off, I've got a couple of rules. Number one, always have a goal. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but having a goal is so important, and it is the way I save money. So if I didn't have something that I wanted to save towards, I wouldn't do it. I'd just go out and buy luxury items and go on holidays. But have a goal, have something you want to save towards. So my goal is to save a house deposit, so I want to have roughly 15 to 20% of a house deposit by the end of next year. So I've gone ahead and saved towards that, and also I want to buy a luxury handbag. So they're my two goals. So I think that it's really important that you have something to look forward to and you have a reasonable time frame, whether that's 2 months, 6 months, 2 years. I think having a time frame is really important. Next is having a budget. Another cliche one. Yes, I know. I don't like the 50-30-20 rule. I think it works well for people who have maybe a lower income, but because I have a bit of a high income, or probably a middle range income for Australia, I don't think it works well for me. If I stuck by the 50-30-20 rule, I'd save less than $10,000 a year. For some people that's what they want to do, but I have a bit of a high income, so I figure I should be saving a lot more than $10,000 in a year. So at the moment my split is 45% savings, 40% needs, and then 15% wants. So I have 3 bank accounts. I have my savings, I have my bills and utilities, and then I have my everyday use bank account. So when I get paid fortnightly, 45% of my pay goes straight into my savings account and I do not touch it, I do not use it. 40% goes into my bills and utilities account, and then the remaining stays in my everyday use account. So for going out for dinner or going to the movies or getting a pedicure or whatever I want to spend that on. This wouldn't work for all incomes. If you have a lower income, I suggest fluctuating and playing with those numbers a little bit. If you have a higher income than me, then you can put more aside to your savings, more than 45%, and less towards your needs and wants, unless you want to live a luxury lifestyle. That's completely up to you, but that's how I split up my account. My next rule is to be savvy or stingy or a tight ass, whatever you want to call it. So the best way to do this is trying to save money wherever you can. I have some really good money saving tips at the end, so if you wanted to skip through to the end, then you can do that and check out those tips. The next rule is salary sacrificing. So this won't apply to everyone. So first off, you'll have to ask your workplace or employer whether they do salary sacrificing. I work for the government, so I do get salary sacrificing. If you don't know what that is, I have the definition here. So it is an arrangement between an employer and an employee where the employee agrees to forego part of their future entitlement to wages or salaries. This is in return for the employer providing them with benefits of a similar value. I'm with a company called RemServe. So what they'll do is they'll take a chunk of money out of my pay before I receive it in my bank account, and then they'll return that money into my bank within a couple of days. But that money then I do not have to pay tax on. I get an extra $150 a fortnight, so that works out to be an extra $2,500 a year. If you don't know what salary sacrificing is, I'll pop a video link in the description box below. I found this really helpful when I was looking to salary sacrifice, so you might find it helpful as well. My next rule is don't touch your savings. So when I put money away into my savings account, I don't touch it. I constantly look at my savings account and wait for the day that I can touch it, but I do not touch it. I may splurge maybe at like if it's Levi's birthday around Christmas time, or I need to buy some flights back home, I'll take some money out of my savings account, but very rarely, maybe once every couple of months, I might take a couple of $100s out. So I do not touch it, I watch it and I wait for it to increase and watching the numbers pile up. I definitely wouldn't touch it whether it's for a night out drinking, going out to a restaurant. Do not touch it. Leave the money in your savings account and watch it and wait for it till the day you can use it. So they're my rules that I stick by every single day, and I've been doing this for a couple of years. I didn't have such a high income before, so I didn't get the savings that I wanted, but now that I have a better job, I can save more money. So now we're going to move on to the money saving tips. This is where the good stuff happens. This is where you make all the money on these tiny little tips here, there and everywhere, and you'll honestly see it pile up. I am a really money savvy and cautious person, and Levi definitely isn't. He's an easy come, easy go kind of guy. He gets paid one day and then used to spend it all on the weekend. And it used to do my head in. It drove me absolutely nuts. And it wasn't until we were together for a little while that I could slowly build these tips and make him a bit more money savvy so that we could save money together. Really simple tip. First one, it's on everyone's list. Don't buy coffee out. My vanilla latte cost me $5.50 at the local cafe at work, which would be $27 a week, $1,430 a year. What I do is I buy one jar of my favorite instant coffee. I'll insert it here because it's delicious. That lasts me 2 weeks, and that normally costs about $191 a year, if my calculations are correct. So therefore I'm saving over $1,000 a year just on saving money by not buying a coffee. My next tip is to take your own lunch. Every single day, Levi and I both take our lunch. The night before, we'll cook a big batch of whatever we're cooking and take that for lunch the next day. And I love leftovers. Not gonna lie, I do love leftovers. Our go-to leftovers are spaghetti bolognese, stir fry. If we have steak the night before, we'll buy an extra steak so that we can chop it up and use it in a salad. So yeah, take your own lunch. So my next tip is saving money around the house. I have a lot of different tips for saving money around the house. I am notorious for going around and switching all the power points off. At night time, when I'm wiping down the benches, I'll flick the microwave off, flick the toaster, flick the kettle off. And every morning Levi's like, oh, why'd you turn it off? If we're going away for a weekend or going on a holiday, then I'll go around and switch all the other power points off. I'll turn our Wi-Fi off, that's a big one as well. Before I jump in the shower while I'm waiting for it to heat up, I'll pop my watering can underneath for my plants. I'll also never put the dishwasher on unless it's full, or the washing machine until I have a full load. My next tip is to shop savvy. I could do a whole video alone on how I grocery shop because I do this in such a particular way. I buy a lot of generic brands, so if I can switch something out for the cheaper alternative, then I will. And there's some things that I just can't switch out for a cheaper alternative, so maybe body wash or yogurt. I really like this nice brand of yogurt. One thing that I do like to buy is Omo washing liquid. I don't like to buy the generic brand of washing liquid. I don't know why, don't ask me. And I do know, I've realised that Omo comes on sale, whether it's, I think it's 40% off, maybe half price, every 4 to 6 weeks. So I'll definitely stock up and grab a couple then when it's on sale, rather than buying it at full price. I would never ever buy it at full price. But there are some things that I do switch out for the generic brands. So things like apple and orange juice, I'll always buy, we shop at Woolworths, so I always buy the Woolworths brand. So another thing I always do when I'm grocery shopping is I'll compare per unit. So what I'll do is when you're shopping at the supermarket, you'll see on the little tags at the bottom, I'll insert a photo here, it'll say unit price per 100 mils or per 100 grams or this much each. So by doing just a couple of simple comparisons while you're in the shopping centre, you can change from using Morning Fresh dishwashing liquid 900 mils, $7.50, which you can see is 83 cents per 100 millilitres. And now what I use in comparison is Earth Choice dishwashing liquid, 1 litre, $2. It's not even a generic brand, and it's now 20 cents per 100 millilitres, which is a huge saving. Another comparison that you can make, we shop at Woolworths. So I've added in a screenshot here of Panadol Optizorb, 20 tablets. How much is it? $4 on sale from $4.20. So you can see in the corner that's 20 cents each tablet. When comparing to the Woolworths Essentials brand paracetamol, 500 milligrams, 20 pack of tablets, 70 cents. So that's 4 cents per tablet, which is mind-boggling. They literally have 500 milligrams of paracetamol in each one. There's no difference between them. They both work the same. They both have the same ingredients. I don't see why I would have to choose one over the other when one's way more expensive. So my next tip is to do your research. whether that's something that you wanted to buy that's $20 or something that's $2,000. Always do your research. So an example of this is the other day I was looking for Rescue Remedy. I walked into Woolworths and the little bottle was $20 for 10 milliliters of Rescue Remedy in the dropper. There was no special, there's no clearance on that item. And I thought that's really, really expensive. So I then just quickly jumped on Google and searched Rescue Remedy, and I figured I'd try Chemist Warehouse because they usually have a lot of sales and deals on. And it was actually at Chemist Warehouse for $19.95 for 20 mils. I was able to buy double the amount of the Rescue Remedy for the same price. So that was just mind-boggling to me. Next, get rid of your subscriptions. So an example of this is we had Foxtel and we also had Netflix. We found we weren't really using the Foxtel at all. We're only using the Foxtel for the sports channels because Levi loves his sport. Decided to keep the Netflix because we watch a lot of movies and TV shows. So instead of having Foxtel with all the channels, the IQ, that kind of, all that jazz, which we really didn't need, we switched to KO Sport. We went from spending $40 a month to then spending $25 just on the KO, saving $180 a year. My next tip is you'll never see me without a bottle of water. I hate having to buy water out. So whenever we're at a restaurant, I'll always opt for tap water. In Australia, we have a really good water system, so I'm not really concerned about that. I used to get really embarrassed by asking for tap water, but now I actually embrace being so savvy. Even if I only bought one bottle of water a week at $3.50, that's a saving of $180 a year. Next, when buying clothes, always buy something that you are going to wear again and reuse. I will never ever buy something that is fast fashion. I hate fast fashion. Things come and go out of fashion so quickly. Whether they stay in fashion for 6 weeks or 6 months, I think it's a waste of time. I'll buy a lot of timeless pieces. I'll buy a lot of things that I can mix and match, and when I do buy dresses or expensive pieces, I make sure that I'll be able to wear them season after season after season again, and they won't go out of fashion. My next tip is to never impulse buy. Don't do it. 100% do not do it. Unless it's a really good deal or something that I really love on the spot, then I'll buy it. But otherwise, what I'll do is usually if I find something that I'm sitting on the fence about, I'll walk away, I'll walk around the shop, and then before I leave, I'll think, do I need that item? Do I really love it? Have I forgotten about it completely? Or am I running back to go and buy it before someone else does? Then that'll really be my decisions. I never impulse buy. I always sit on things, more expensive things like luxury handbags, maybe like a laptop or computers I'll ponder on for days or weeks or maybe even months. And one of my last tips is cheap rent. So if you're saving for something and you don't have your own house or house deposit, I suggest renting somewhere that's cheap. This tip may not necessarily work for everyone, so I'm definitely not saying go and live in a dodgy neighborhood. All I'm saying is that consider downsizing or moving to a different neighborhood where it might be a little less expensive or a little more quiet, away from schools and shopping centers, and you could probably save a lot of money. Ideally, I'd love to live in a beautiful big house, but while we're saving, we've taken a step back and we've decided to live in a townhouse. When I first moved out of home and started living with Levi, we moved into a flat on the Gold Coast. It was costing us $495 a week. So now we're paying $340 a week in rent. So that's saving us $7,540 a year, which is huge. My last tip is to tell your friends. Tell your friends what you're saving for. Tell them how much you want to save and how much it really means to you. Letting my friends know I was saving was a really big help, because then we could make some really good affordable ideas on where we can hang out and do things that we like to do. So then my friends were on board with the saving as well. So those were my rules and my hot tips to help you save, and how I saved $20,000 in 1 year. If you have any questions or you would like a more in-depth video on my budget, I would love to go through my budget and really nitpick it and show you my Excel spreadsheet on how I save my money and how I delegate my money. I would love to do that. So if you think you'd be interested in something like that, let me know in the comments below. If you have any other questions, comment below and I'll reply to them. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and happy saving. Woo!